Hello, hello, hello. This is B with Stitchy Witchy B. Welcome back to anybody who came back. Welcome to anybody who's new. My pronouns are she, her, and this is a channel primarily about Flosstube or stitching, various fiber arts, things of that nature. There will occasionally be a few other things, but that is by far the brunt. Thank you very much for joining me today. I was going to wait until the end of August to film this, but next week is going to be extremely hectic for me. We got somebody I'm picking up from the airport, my birthday, just a whole bunch of stuff is going on at the very beginning of September. Today is Saturday. It is August 24th, about mid-afternoon. Figured I would try to take advantage of some of the natural light, but I do also have a light overhead to try to help. And we're just going to go over what I stitched on this month. There is still a week, so I am hoping to get a few more things worked on before the end, but this is going to be a pretty good look at things, generally speaking. I do have 2 finishes, very unusual, but we're going to roll with it. More starts than anticipated. A couple of them I was sure of. A couple of them were surprise starts for various reasons. Several things aside from that I worked on, made some progress toward. And then at the end, we will discuss a couple of immediate plans, things that will be going on before my next video. And at the end, I will have some shout outs and then a couple of facts. But for now, let's go ahead and discuss the finishes. Oh, actually, even before that. So like I said, there is still about a week left of August, but so far, as of today, the 24th, I've stitched just under 13,000 stitches. This is the first time I've ever tried to track that, so I don't know if I'm assuming that's probably going to be pretty standard or normal for my way of stitching, but I don't know. I've also had a couple of days where I went ham. I went nuts. I don't entirely know, but, yes, that's a good idea of my stitching so far this month. Let's see. One of the finishes that I did was, every day is Halloween. This pattern is a Witch's Garden Crafts. I did it on 18 count mottled orange banana oil fabric. I did it just in 310, nothing too fancy. It isn't ironed. I still haven't tested out the iron that I have to see if it's any good or not. So normally I don't have ideas for how I want to fully finish anything. This one I kind of do. I think it'll make a really cute small pillow. I have some Halloween oriented fabric that I thought could be cute on the back. Just this cute bats and bats fabric. I have no idea where I got this from. It looks like it's designed by Joanna Parker. I can't see that. Again, I don't remember where I got this, when I got it, but I have a whole bunch of it and might as well use it for that. This was a fairly simple, quick little stitch, very enjoyable. And then this one, I thought I was done, looked at it more closely when I was gathering all my pictures together again from my Whip Parade and realized there's a whole bunch of backstitching that I just did not do. So I do still need to take care of that. But this is Book of Warrior Queens by Haunted Frames. I did this on 18 count Bestitch Me fabric. It was just a misdye. It's very, very pretty even without the back stitching, but I would like to go in and do it. It'll make some of this pop a little bit more because the white in person, it shows up a lot better on this fabric, but here it is a bit hard to see on camera. So I do want to give that some love. And then there's some detail in the wings and other things that will make it pop a bit more. Those are the 2 finishes that I have. For other things that I worked on, specifically starts, a pattern, I think it's called the Adventure Map or D&D Adventure Map. It is by Taylor and Cromwell. I'm doing this on 28 count Dirty Cottage Lugana from Bestitch Me. And I didn't make a ton of progress on it, but I got a little ways. I believe I mentioned this very briefly in my Whip Parade. What was I doing here? Who knows? Okay. Here's my progress so far. This is such a beautiful fabric for something map related. But this is you basically will roll dice or anything else that will help you pick what goes into each room. There's a lot of different options, a lot of different choices. I think it'll be very interesting from what little I have seen of it. Very fun. I do play Dungeons and Dragons. I have for a few years now. I was a little bit late hopping into it, but I really, really enjoy it. It's how I met my really good friends now. It's actually how I met my partner. I've even tried to run a game before, kind of psyched myself out a little bit on that, but eventually I'll probably start that back up again. Because it's very, very fun. It's a good way to get your imagination out and just kind of enjoy yourself. Let's see. Okay. Next is the Monster House Stitchalong. This one I am still behind on. They just released the 4th part, and I am still working my way through a couple parts earlier on, but I'm really enjoying it. I had a brief moment kind of in the top of this column where I miscounted and had to go back and frog just a little bit, but so far it's going very, very well. So far I am doing it on just with the called for DMC. This is being done on, pretty sure I remember, let me make sure. The pattern is by Satsuma Street. This is being done on 18 count Velt by Picture This Plus. It's got this kind of mossy stone look to it. I'm not sure exactly how well it's showing up on camera. I will try to insert better pictures if it isn't showing up well in the video when I'm going through for the edit. The only thing I'm doing that is a little different, let's see, I set this somewhere in hopes of keeping track of it, and I in fact did not. It's green for the tentacles. There we go. On this, I'm adding in this blue metallic. Hopefully it's showing up all right on the camera. But this is one of those Rico design threads that I believe I mentioned in one other, but I don't think I actually showed what the metallic looks like. It's a pretty thin filament, but it works really well just adding it as an additional strand. It doesn't add too much to the bulk, but it's kind of making the outside of the tentacle just a little bit more interesting, in my opinion. It shows up more in person, I'm guessing, than it does on the camera, but I'm really enjoying this pattern. I don't know. It's very fun. I've gotten a ton in on it just in the last week or so. I'm around 60% of the way through the first 3 parts. The 4th part is going to be kind of right above in the middle, and then the next couple of parts will be up along this side to finish it out. But on this one alone, this month, I've put in 3,800 stitches. I mean, I've been just going to town on it. This is a start and current progress. So very enjoyable, very fun. It's my first Satsuma Street. I'm definitely enjoying myself. I will be doing more of theirs. This was an impromptu start. I have several of those this month. It is called Bunnies. Self-explanatory, in my opinion. This is a pattern by Colorfully Sarah. I'm doing it on 18 count white Ada with called for, I believe. I don't think I made any changes to it. My brother's partner really loves bunnies, and this will not be done in time for her birthday, but when he goes back to see her before Christmas, I will just have him take it with her. It's kind of a belated birthday, early Christmas sort of situation. There's a couple other patterns I've got in mind that I want to send along around then as well, but we will see how that goes. A small start. It's going to be just a little pattern. I'm not entirely sure what urged me to go ahead and get it started right now, but here we are. It's called Mushroom Book. I'm just doing this on, I believe, an 18 count oatmeal. What direction? I think it's this direction. And this is by White Protea Art. I'm just doing it with the called for. It's a little under 3,000 stitches, so I just wanted to go ahead and get it started. So this won't be a huge pattern, but we'll see. There's a mushroom here. It's just not showing up very well. In hindsight, perhaps oatmeal was not the best fabric to do it on. This one, I had a poll on my Instagram about what fabric I should do Plants and Petrichor on. And I fully intended to go with the kind of group favorite because it was very beautiful. And then I received coconut shell from Stitch Me in their monthly subscription and absolutely fell in love with it with the flosses. So I ended up starting, I'm a bit behind, the Plants and Petrichor Stitchalong on coconut shell. The downside is because there's sections that are so far apart from others with nothing to anchor them, it is tricky for me on linen. I am getting pretty thrown off. So I kind of psyched myself out a little bit on that. I'll need to hop back in. But the colors for the overall project just looked so beautiful and so vibrant on coconut shell. Like it just, I don't know, they went so well together. This is just a handful of them, but you get the idea where, I don't know, it just brought out some of the best of those shades, made it look stunning. So I was really, really excited as soon as I got it because I got the floss for the project about the same time that this came in. Decided on a whim, let's give a floss toss a try. Immediately fell in love. But I do need to hop back in on that. I'm focusing so hard in on Monster House, but there's also less to catch up on for this. When I was working on the femurs and fungi, it was pretty easy for me to get caught up. So I'm not super, super worried about it. We'll see. Merry Christmas by Tinsel Cross Stitch. I'm doing it with just some kind of generic silks from Amazon, actually. There's two of the shades and there's one in the middle that's just a wad of floss that I embarrassed to show. But I was at the car dealership getting my car worked on for several hours this week. So I thought, I just need something simple, something easy with only a little bit of floss that I needed to carry with me to work on for it. And this just kind of fit the bill. I have vague hopes of trying to finish this by Christmas to give it to my mom. Highly doubt it'll happen, but it's at least an idea. This is being done on 20 count stone by Fiber on a Whim. I would need to do about 1,000 stitches a week, which in theory is possible. Just don't know with my ADHD how likely that'll be. Other things that I worked on that were not new starts. And I did get some screen grabs from my previous videos. They're very, very grainy. But I do have progress pictures to help out with that. This is Vampire by Create Your Desire. I'm just doing this on 14 count white Ada, but I am doing this instead of 310, I'm using Gomez from Roxy Floss Co. Before, I think I only had just a little bit of the central spiral. I did quite a bit just in one day. I was chugging right along. This is one of the projects I hope to finish by the end of the year, so I have kind of a general, this is roughly how many stitches I would need to do a month to make sure to make that happen. And I think I hit that with this. Another one that I worked on this month, it was a lot of black, I'm realizing now, whether 310 or otherwise. I worked on the Wouldst Thou Like to Live Deliciously pattern from The Witch, or The Vivitch, if you want to be sassy about it. This is by the Witchy Stitcher. I'm just doing it on a 14 count brown Ada. I did add, it wasn't that same metallic thread, it was a black one, but I added that into the word deliciously. I did finish the rest of that and started in on this bit of the fence here. There's still a bit more to do for the month to kind of hit my marker on that to make sure that it gets finished by the end of the year. But I was very pleased with my progress on that to get the rest of the wording in the center done. Oh, actually, I do have the black metallic right here. Acting like I don't have it next to me. Well, that's what that looks like. And then I worked a bit more on, apologies if swearing bothers you, Fuck Around and Find Out. I was trying to get some more of the wording done on that, because once the words are done, I'll be able to get into some of the fun parts. There's a couple of dragons and then a border. I haven't fully decided what color I'm going to do that in, but this, I don't know how much progress I made on it because it's not in Pattern Keeper. It didn't load in correctly, so I'm just doing this off of a printout. It's a pattern by Witches Garden Crafts. This is one I wasn't 100% sure what fabric I did this on. I think it might be dusk, but I can't say that with absolute certainty. I did forget one new start. I went ahead and did start a little bit on Mischief and Repose. Let's see if I can remember. And I can. Okay. I'm just doing this on an 18 count white Ada. It's all colors that are very much not visible on camera. They are in person, but this is part of her arm. And I wanted to, sorry, I'm fighting with it, trying to get more of the white behind it. Some of this, because once I start working on, was it like, no. Pretty sure it was like this. Once I get some of this done, it'll create a good shape of the marble step or ledge that she's laying on, and it'll give me a really good idea to work my way over to this border, which will be very nice too. Haha, I see what the problem is. Went like this. I was like, there should be a lot more sideways. Yeah, so this will come down to create some of that shaping there. Another one I got a bit more progress on was the Quaker Nature, or Nature Quaker. I'm doing this on Blush by Witches Garden Crafts. I'm trying to remember who the pattern is by. This might be another Tinsel cross stitch, actually. And this was one I had to take a picture of because it was not showing up well on camera with the coloring that it has, because it's stunningly beautiful for the fabric. Yep, another Tinsel cross stitch, 18 count blush by Witch's Garden Crafts. And I'm loving this more and more. I'm doing it in Bog Witch by Pirate and Robin for the floss, which is just this beautiful, really, really dark green. Almost black in a lot of ways, but it's stunning. I did quite a bit compared to where I was on my whip parade on the Salem and Memorium project. This one, I only had like maybe a bit of the L and E before. And now, this is by the Witchy Stitcher. I'm doing it on 18 count Gray Magic from Bestitch Me. I think I'm about 33% of the way done because there's quite a bit with the border of the, I want to say headstone, but that might not actually be the proper word. I watched a few people for a while who did cleanings in cemeteries, and they explained the difference in which ones were headstones and all of that. And I don't think this was a headstone, but I can't fully remember. But they would do just kind of free cleanings on some of them to help make sure they were being kept up and looked good. But I did pretty good progress on this. I had 1 or 2 really good days. Very easy to stitch on. I'm doing that in Mascara by Weeks Dye Works instead of just regular DMC 310. And that Gray Magic is just, it's so nice to stitch on. So lovely. Such a beautiful gray. I also had really good progress on Cara. Oh, yeah, this is the last one for progress. Pictures. Okay. Cara, I believe this is another Witch's Garden Crafts. Yes. This is just on a 14 count Black Ada. Nothing too crazy. In terms of that, I'm doing it with DMC 317. This is one of the ones I hope to finish by the end of the calendar year. We'll see how that goes. Mostly right now I was just trying to get this inner border done, figure out where the outer edge goes. Eventually I want to do these as his and her pillows because there's a companion Mon Cher from Adam's family. I didn't make any progress on this one, but just for example. And there was I don't remember if I mentioned this on my whip parade, but there's a weird logic for it. So Gomez always calls Morticia Cara. So I did this in more Morticia themed coloring. And then a red for Gomez when she calls him Mon Cher. There's a weird logic to it in my brain. Don't know if it makes sense to anybody else, but that's where we are. So I will do these as like his and her pillows, so to speak. Especially if the Everyday's Halloween pillow works out well. Okay. Next would just be immediate plans. I've got a couple. I received the floss, so I decided to be extra because it's my birthday this month, to be extra about the floss for Autumn is Joyful and Halloween Quaker. So I mildly extra, just slightly extra, because I just used the conversions on 123 Stitch to find out what some of the conversion colors would be in Fancy Floss. And I decided just today I'm going to do, did I write it down? Yes, I did. Autumn is Joyful on Cocoa. I believe, 20 count Cocoa by Fiber on a Whim. I haven't started it yet, but just a very beautiful brown. It's not showing up super brown right now, but and then I will, if anybody is interested, I don't know yet exactly how it'll turn out, but I can put the conversions up on my Instagram at some point. But just some of the colors looked so good on this in particular. I tested out a couple different things. Sorry, they're all in a lump. It is not cooperating with me. They're all kind of going higgledy-piggledy. But they just looked really, really beautiful on Coco. And stood out really nicely. So it'll be a little bit of a nixing the fancy floss, but I think it is beautiful, and I'm very much looking forward to making some good progress on that here soon to get an actual start and progress. And then I also picked out the fabric that I'm going to use for Halloween Quaker, and did fancy floss conversion for that as well. There's still a couple colors I think that I'm going with the DMC, but for the most part I am being extra as a treat. I completely forgot I did not order the floss for Dark Golden Delicious by Artsy Housewife, so I do still need to do that. And decide on which fabric. I have a whole stack that I think could work really well for it and are the right size. But I'm being a little bold for Halloween Quaker. I'm doing this on Plum. I believe also by Fiber on a Whim. But all of the colors, both regular DMC and otherwise, actually look really nice on it. I wasn't 100% sure if some of these kind of more oranges and yellows would, but they do, in my opinion, look really nice. So I think they will actually be a really good balance for it. I'm very excited to get started on that. Hope to get started maybe this weekend on both this and Autumn. And then the other, once I get the floss in for Dark Golden Delicious, I'll go ahead and have that as a start this next month as well. And the only other ones I'm hoping to start are Mephisto and Witches Going to Their Sabbath. Mephisto, I actually don't have the fabric for just yet. I'll be getting that soon, so I will not be starting that directly on my birthday, but I will be starting it very shortly after, so it's not like within a week or two. I think I'll be able to start it. Birthday month for sure. And for Witches Going to Their Sabbath, I did start a hashtag for it, witchesgetstitchesSAL. I'm still getting my stuff set up for it, but I'm far enough along I can start. I'm just doing this on an 18 count silver moon Ada, and this will be, because it's full coverage, I've considered a little bit about whether or not I wanted to do it on hand-dyed fabric and try to have some of the background be part of the fabric, but I'm just not quite, I'm still a newbie. I'm still getting used to a lot of stuff. I don't feel like I'm ready or at a point where I can confidently make those adjustments on the fly as I'm stitching in terms of what I'm actually stitching and what I'm not. So I'm just going to go ahead and do this full crosses, but one strand on 18 count. This is going to be 286 or just under 287,000 stitches, 472 by 608. It's going to be quite large. I'm very excited. Like I said, just one strand. For now, I'll probably do full crosses just because there's some nuance with the tent stitching that I understand, but I don't understand. Like, I understand what it's describing, but I don't fully understand how to do it. So I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to do full crosses, one strand. Won't be a big deal. Mephisto will be the same way. I'm just going to do that, I think, on an ivory, because I think that'll balance out the background really well. But for Witches Get Stitches, the hashtag, I wanted to present some options. I'm not affiliated with any of these shops. I'm not getting anything for this. These aren't sponsored in any way. These are just me doing a quick look at some different patterns that could fit the general idea of Witches Get Stitches. Anything that's remotely, it doesn't have to have a witch specifically in it. It doesn't have to be in the title. It can be whatever. It can be whatever size. I'm doing a full coverage. You absolutely don't have to do a full coverage. If you've already got something started, like the Halloween Quaker, that counts. You can still use the hashtag then. I'm being very loosey-goosey about this. Mostly I just want to have fun with it. So I do have some random ideas. I'll put them up on the screen here. The shop name and then the pattern itself, just so people can get examples. I've tried to, for my examples, find smaller ones. So most of these are under 100 by 100 stitches. There are a couple that are a bit over that, just for some variety. There's no end date on this. It's just open to have fun with. Some of the Flosstubes I've been watching and creators that I've found recently. And these are going to be their channel names. I don't know if I can link them, but I will at least mention them in the description. Oh, sorry, I had this out so you could see. This is usually how I do. I'm still setting up for witches going to their Sabbath, but this is roughly, since I use bobbins, I still have to actually put a bunch of things on there, but that's roughly how I store my floss, and then just keep this as my travel thing. Okay, sorry. Some of the channels, I'm all over the place, I'm very sorry. Some of the channels that I've been watching recently, Uplift Stitches. It's an adorable couple that both cross stitch. They're right about at their first YouTube anniversary. Catherine's Stitching Chronicles. Lots of fancy ladies, a few mystery sals. They're also new to hand-dyed fabrics, so that's kind of fun to see other people on the same journey. Aussie Stitcher in Texas, some fun full coverage projects, good tips on using Pattern Keeper, which I really need to look into, for long dogs in particular. Cross Stitch Jess in the UK, mix of full coverage and smaller patterns. Stitch in the Matrix, very wonderful. I met them during Midsummer. Super joyful, good variety of project types, just so enthusiastic, so encouraging, absolutely wonderful. Pieced Pineapple Studio, good mix of styles, tends toward kind of mid-century modern, some vintage spooky, very fun. Ali Renee's Copious Spare Time, good variety and mix of projects, very funny and interesting. Sugar and Stitches, sweet, some cozy game hobbies that I also like, so some shared styles and patterns there. Lots of fancy ladies. Stitching with T and B, very sweet. Love the tea recommendations, even though I'm not a huge tea drinker. Still very fun. Gorgeous pattern picks that I don't usually see. Creatively Yours, lots of really pretty, beautiful full coverage. Some samplers that I don't see very many other people doing. Some other spooky, specifically, people that I watch. Wicked Cat Stitch, Gently Smiling Jaws, Stitched by Liz, and a few of the other people I mentioned also have some spooky patterns as well. And then lastly, we will wrap this up with a couple of quick facts. The quick one is that Germany has more castles than there are McDonald's in the United States. Germany is estimated to have about 25,000 castles, and there are around 13,000 McDonald's locations in America alone. And I did double check this. That is fairly current as of 2023, I believe. And then another fact, this one's a little bit longer, but in my opinion, very interesting. John Harvey Kellogg invented cornflakes in 1894. They were later used as part of an extreme diet promoted by his church to basically suppress horniness. Kellogg thought sex and masturbation were abnormal and unhealthy, even claiming that he was celibate for the entirety of his 40-year marriage. So he believed cornflakes and their lack of flavor would help fight off any desire. He was also obsessed with enemas and recommended an absurd amount and volume of them to anyone who went to a sanitarium/health resort, even advocating at one point for yogurt enemas. I'm only a little sorry if you now think about that anytime you have Kellogg's cereal. If it helps at all, that company was started by his brother, who thought that John Harvey was ridiculous. For August, I will try to put better stats in along with the pictures when I'm editing, but this was a really good moment for me to try to get the filming part of this done. Hopefully it all works out. Have a wonderful rest of August. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend.